All right, our first real core Python syntactically geared concept. So we're going to be talking about our very first Python object in depth, and it's going to go over a couple of videos, and that is the core object type of a string. So essentially, a string is any sequence of characters in quotes, whether the quote is single quote on your keyboard or double quote. It just has to be consistent. So if you begin a string with a double quote, it has to end in double quote. If you begin it with single quote, it's got to end with a single quote. A good standard is that, let's say the father went to the table and picked up the book, and the name of the book was the script for the play 12 Angry Men or something like that. And so in other words, you have a quote within a quote. The outside will be the double quote. The dad walks over to the table and picks up the script for the movie or the play 12 Angry Men, and 12 Angry Men would be in single quote. So you just want to avoid beginning with a double quote and ending with a single quote. In other words, the quote numbers, I guess you could say, they have to match. So here is a couple of examples, and we're going to show you something really simple that you can do with strings. In this example, we are asking the user to guess a number, and this is what we call the raw input trick. And it used to be where you'd actually type in raw input in Python 2. In this Python, you just literally put in input, and we're going to press enter, and it actually asks us to guess a number. So we'll say, I don't know, 34. And we have now given the variable number 1 the value of 34. Now let's do the same thing here, except with another variable, and that's number 2. Enter here, guess another number, and let's do 34. Now, a little trick here, or I'm going to ask you guys a trick question. What will the total be? So we'll say total is equal to number 1 plus number 2. Now I'm going to press enter. Now total is going to be the equivalent of number 1 plus number 2. So I'm going to go ahead and print total. Now what do you think it's going to be? I suppose you might think it will be 68. But the problem is that it's 34, 34. So this is what we call concatenation. What concatenation does is it simply puts together or brings together two separate but equal things. Well, not equal, but two separate things. So for example, if number 2 would be equal to, say, the number 1, and then we said the total is number 1 plus number 2, let's do print total. That would be 341, 34 plus, or concatenate 1. It's kind of like how we can have f equals foo, and notice we can use a single quote now. B equals bar. F plus B is going to be foo bar. Now let's exit here to get a clean screen. I'll type in the clear command, and let's say, for example, we did the same thing. One more thing before we end this little session, this little video right here, going back into idle. I just wanted to mention it does give us information about logical operations. So if you said 5 is greater than 3, which we all know is true, and you recall ands and ors, so we said and, we said 4 is greater than 3, we know that to be true. However, if I just said 4 is less than 3, which we know is false, so we know true and false is going to be false. But yet if we replace this with or, this would be true. Let me change this, and that is true. The only way you can make an or false is if they're both false. So let me change this, and that is going to be false. And if I said one is equivalent to the other, that is going to be true, because that's a false and this is a false. And again, if I said this string, apple, is going to be equivalent to this string with only one p, or actually if I made it plural, that is going to be, my prediction is that it's going to be false, and it is in fact false.